The woman he controlled never broke. She simply stopped explaining herself. There's a kind of silence that scares people away more than anger. Not because something had happened, not because someone is plotting revenge, no, but because the person they thought they understood had suddenly stopped explaining, stopped defending herself, and stopped asking to be believed. He always believed he knew how to stay in control, not in violence, not with shouting, but with confusion. Whenever she asked something, he had an answer already. Whenever she felt hurt, he told her she was overthinking. Whenever she noticed something was wrong, he convinced her she was imagining things. At first, she doubted herself. She wondered if maybe he was right. Maybe she was too sensitive. Maybe she worried too much. Maybe she expected too much. So she kept giving him the benefits of doubt. She kept trying to understand him. She kept trying to save a relationship that seems to become heavier every day. The strange thing was that nobody outside the house, outside the relationship, saw it. To everyone else, it was charming, helpful, respectful. People praised him, people trusted him, people believed every word he said. And every time he tried to explain what she was experiencing, people felt like she was speaking a language nobody understood. So she became quiet. She became very quiet, not because she had nothing to say, because she was tired of proving what she already knew. Then something happened. She stopped arguing. She stopped defending herself. She stopped trying to convince people that she was still telling the truth. At first, he enjoyed it. He thought he had finally won. No more questions, no more disagreements, no more emotional conversations. The house became peaceful according to him. At last, that is what At least that is what he wanted. But the peace was not real. It was distance. A distance he could not see. A distance that was growing every day. For the first time, she began to focus on herself. She started reading again. She started spending time with people who respected her. She started building the confidence she had lost. She laughed more. She smiled more and struggle. None of those smiles belongs to anyone anymore. That was that was when he became uncomfortable. He could not understand why her silence felt different. He expected sadness. Instead, he saw strength. He expected weakness. Instead, he saw clarity. The woman who once begged to be understood no longer needed anyone's permission to trust herself. And that frightened him so much because control only works when someone keeps asking for approval, keeps asking for permission. One evening, he asked a simple question: "Why don't you talk to me the way you used to?" She looked at him for a moment. Then she answered quietly, "Because I finally started listening to myself." Those words stayed in his mind. Days passed, weeks passed, and then for the first time he began noticing something he had ignored for so long. He noticed how often she had apologized for things that were never her fault. He noticed how many sacrifices she had made. He noticed how often she had chosen peace while carrying pain nobody could see. He then The realization came slowly and painfully, like waking up from a dream and discovering that the person who kept the relationship alive had been carrying most of the weight all alone. The harder he tried to pull her back into old pattern, the further she moved away. Not physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And that is the worst thing that will happen in a relationship, in a marriage. She was no longer trapped in the version of herself that needed his validation. And that changed everything. People around them started noticing it too. The woman who once looked exhausted now looked calm. The woman who once questioned herself now trusted her own judgment. The woman who once feared losing him no longer feared losing anyone anymore. And suddenly, the story he had been telling everyone about her began to fall apart because confidence reveals what manipulation tries to hide. The questions started being asked, conversation changed. The image he worked so hard to protect began to show cracks, not because he exposed himself, because she stopped protecting lies that were never hers to carry. That was the moment that was the moment he understood everything. That was the moment he understood something he should have learned much more earlier. A person can only be controlled for as long as they doubt their own worth. The moment they remember who they are, the chains become useless. By then, it was already too late. She was already becoming someone new, someone stronger, wiser, someone who no longer needed to explain every decision she took, someone who no longer felt guilty for choosing peace. And while he stood there trying to understand where everything went wrong, she was walking towards a future she had postponed for fear too long, not with anger, not with revenge or with bitterness, but with certainty. Because sometimes the greatest victory is not making someone regret losing you. Sometimes the greatest victory is finally seeing yourself clearly after years of being told who you should be. And once that happens, there is no longer going back. The woman he thought he controlled never broke. She simply stopped explaining herself, and that changed everything. Thank you so much for staying till the end. I love you so much. And if this is your first time of coming across my channel, please subscribe, like, and click on the notification button. I love you so much.